Hi everyone, my name is Zainab and today I'm presenting a case study on user experience bootcamps with teens to co-design real-time online safety interventions. So we know that teens are almost always online, and while that is beneficial to them in many ways, they're often facing risky situations such as cyberbullying, sexual solicitations, people stealing their information, and so on. So these risks are happening, but teens don't have the guidance and the features that can help them resolve these risky situations online. Recently, real-time interventions or nudges are being researched and coming out to be a promising way to help teens be safe online. Moreover, recent co-design research shows that teens themselves, as the main stakeholders, want to have a voice in the design of these online safety solutions like real-time interventions and nudges. Now, the problem is that teens often lack the skills and trainings to be equal co-design partners. We learned also from Badio et al.'s research that teens want their participation to be mutually beneficial in research. So now, taking all of these different things into account, the question arises that how can we design effective online safety interventions with teens in a way that benefits them and promotes their online safety? To address this question, we conducted user experience bootcamps with teens that taught them important UX design skills and industry standards tools such as Canva, FigJam, and Figma. In this way, we benefited teens through our bootcamp process. In the process, we also asked teens to share and design solutions for their personal social media experiences, especially those that made them or someone else feel uncomfortable or unsafe online. We conducted 8 of these bootcamps, with each bootcamp having 2 to 3 teens, and with a total of 19 teens. Each bootcamp happened over a span of 2 days and had a combination of training activities and research activities. The research activities were focused on creating prototypes and storyboards that depicted their unsafe interactions online and ways in which they wanted to address those situations through real-time interventions. Day 1 of the bootcamp mostly focused on user experience training and storyboard training. We provided teens with a template which they used to depict their unsafe interactions online. And then after that, they used FigJam to whiteboard their ideas through a low-fidelity prototype of their ideas for addressing that risky situation online. Day 2 of the bootcamp focused on prototyping using Figma. We taught teens the different functionalities and features offered by Figma, after which they had their own independent prototyping project in which they depicted the unsafe interaction as well as the feature or real-time intervention that they thought would be most effective in helping them or other teens be safe online. In conducting these bootcamps online in a remote setting, we've faced several challenges, such as teens often had different ages, backgrounds, or skill sets, which led to differences in the time that they needed to do the activities and their learning speeds. Moreover, there were often sensitive topics discussed, such as unsafe interactions online, which made teens uncomfortable or led them to having privacy concerns. Lastly, it was difficult to engage teens in a remote setting. There were several technical issues. It was hard to engage them, and it was hard to get them motivated to finish the bootcamp or even to speak up sometimes. To address these issues, over time, we figured out a few contingency plans. For example, to set teens up for success and to make them on equal footing in the design process, we gave them preparation worksheets which outlined different onboarding tasks that they could do to become familiar with the tools before the bootcamp. We also gave them warm-up tasks, sometimes in the form of interactive games, and we also made special effort to make sure that teens get a balance of independent working time plus researcher assistance. To ensure their privacy and well-being, we made explicit guidelines at the start of the bootcamp for everyone to protect the participants' privacy. We also gave them the option for anonymous or private responses and breakout rooms which help teens elaborate on their experiences in more depth with the researchers in a private setting. Lastly, to overcome the challenges of remote research, we came up with a troubleshooting guide, which outlined different ways to overcome the technical issues. Then to engage teens more in the remote setting, we made sure to engage with them and have conversations that went beyond the design process and the design activities. We made sure we talked to them about their hobbies, about their interests, and get to have a connection and relationship with them. Lastly, we incentivized the bootcamps with UX certificates, which led to 100% completion rate of the bootcamps. We also got feedback from 13 teens through a survey that was sent to them after the bootcamp. Most teens valued the training activities that we gave to them in the bootcamp and thought they would not be able to learn and complete the entire bootcamp process without those activities. However, some teens thought that there were some improvements that could be made, such as more collaborative and group work amongst the teens in the bootcamp. We saw that teens cared a lot about the impact of their activities, and they really thought that if youth were given the skills to make these different designs, then they could actually make a difference in their own online safety. Lastly, teens felt that little was done to protect their own online safety in the world through the bootcamp, which means that there was a gap in what they expected from the bootcamp versus what they got, which is important to note for future work. Based on our lessons learned and the feedback gotten from teens, we outlined these guidelines for conducting bootcamps, co-design research, or remote research with teens. We think it's important to acknowledge and overcome differences in their backgrounds, ages, or abilities. It's also important to be prepared for trouble or things that could go wrong beforehand. It's also very important to build rapport or relationship with teens, since that's what ensures the success and interactions of teens with the researchers. It's important to ensure their privacy, their independence, and their well-being, and also to communicate the impact of their efforts and their participation in research, since that is their primary motivation for participation. Lastly, teens love to work with other teens, and they love collaborative activities, which is something to keep in mind for future researchers. Thank you, and if you have any other questions, I would be happy to answer them in the live chat. Thanks again.